What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. That was super cringy. Anyways, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a highly requested and highly needed video. So for those of you who don't know, I just had plantar fasciitis surgery. I have had some kind of cast boot, something on my foot since the beginning of this year. Yes, the beginning of this year, and it is October. So everybody always asks me, what happened to your foot? Why are you still dealing with it? Like, what is going on? So I just felt it was necessary to do a whole video on this, of the whole story of my foot, why I still have a cast on my foot, and it's October. Excuse the dirtiness at the bottom of it. Anyways, so I hope you enjoy this video. I hope I answer all of your questions that you have been wondering. Okay, so it's October, so fast forward back to last year in October. The end of October, beginning of November last year, I started having super bad pains in my heel. Like, I'm a cheerleader, for those of you who don't know. So I am a tumbler. Tumbling is like my thing. It's my passion. If you know me, you know that I am a hard tumbler. I tumble my heels like really hard. They call me an elephant. So yeah, it's definitely not good for my feet, obviously. And so I started just noticing that every time I would land, I would have shooting pains go up my leg, and it would start from my heel and would just shoot up my leg and the back of my foot. And so it was very odd. I didn't really think much of it at first, and it was like an every time thing. I would notice it. It would be so painful. It got to the point where I would land a tumbling pass and I would just fall to the ground because I was in so much pain. I went to my athletic trainer, and he thought I had a bruised heel. I'd stepped on something like a rock or something outside, or just something in the house I stepped on, and I had bruised my heel, which a bruise, just like any other bruise, it takes time and it will heal on its own, and that's the end of that. So I treated it for a bruised heel, just took ibuprofen to help with the pain, iced it, stayed off of it for a little while, and still I was having terrible pain. It just continued to get worse. And so after weeks of like it getting unbearable, that's when he was like, that's odd. If it was a bruised heel, then it would have been healed by now. So it's something more. So then that's when he was like, okay, this is out of my hands. I need to send you to a doctor. So I went to my normal doctor, my orthopedic doctor, who does all of my family's orthopedic issues. I did my brother's ACL surgery, both of my brother's collarbone surgeries, my mom's shoulder surgery. My dad's been doing my sister, my brother, literally everything. He did my hamstring. When I tore my hamstring a few years back, he did that or whatever. And so he's literally done everything. So knows my family very well. So I went to him. He's just a normal orthopedic doctor, and I told him my symptoms. He was like, you have plantar fasciitis. And I was like, okay, what is plantar fasciitis? Basically, I'll use this shoe. Basically, on the bottom of your foot, there is a tendon that runs from the top of it, your toes, and it connects to your heel bone. Basically, what happens is in there you have fascia, which with plantar fasciitis, it gets inflamed and scar tissue and stuff gets built up in there. And so it makes the tendon very uncomfortable. So when you move that tendon, it's just causing agony to it, and that's what's making your heel just super painful, and that's what was happening in my heel. He was like, but just to make sure, let's do an x-ray, make sure there's no like stress fractures that are small, that's what it could be. So we did an x-ray, and of course, I knew going in that there wasn't a break or anything like that. It wasn't that kind of pain. It was a pain that I can't explain. And of course, wasn't a break or anything. So he was like, okay. So then he sent me home with some stretches to do for about a week, and I still was having so much pain. These stretches weren't helping. Nothing was helping. And so then that's when he was like, this is not good. He was like, we need to get MRI, make sure that this is plantar fasciitis and that there's nothing more. And he really just wanted to nail down plantar fasciitis. Yes, from my symptoms that I told him, he could kind of tell that's what it was, but he really wanted to make sure. So had an MRI, and it comes back, and I have plantar fasciitis. And it could be a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Like, a break is, your bone is easier to heal than a tendon or a muscle. like, you know, you just put it in a cast and your bone will heal back together. But for a tendon, it takes a lot longer. For muscles and ligaments and all that, it takes it a lot longer to heal than a bone. So it can be a good or a bad thing that I have plantar fasciitis. So basically, he just gave me more stretches to do, gave me more time. I was out of cheer, you know, just take some rest off of it, because I mean, I was in so much pain at this point. And at the beginning of whenever I started like noticing my pain, it would only happen when I would land. Like I would land, it would hurt, like I would cry sometimes. It was so painful. But then it got so bad to the point where I'd be laying in bed at night and my foot would just throb. That pain that I felt when I would land was the same pain that I felt laying in bed at night. And I was like, this, I can't deal with this. This is just terrible. And so then that's when I went back to my doctor, and he was like, okay, you have a severe case of plantar fasciitis. And for those of you who don't know, plantar fasciitis is not seen in people my age. I'm 16 years old, a junior in high school, and that is so unusual for me to have that, number one, because it's more of an older person kind of disease, or whatever you want to call it. And so he was like, wow, this is very rare for you to even have this. And so he sent me to a specialist who works with him like in a different building there. And so he sent me to him. He's a foot and ankle specialist, and he did my kind of look deeper into what was going on. My dad just walked in. Anyways, so he sent me to a specialist, and the specialist you know, was like, okay, tell me your symptoms, whatever. Plantar fasciitis. Saw my MRI. Okay, I have plantar fasciitis. So he was like, this is what we're gonna do. He was like, we have a few different options that you can do. So first thing was cast it. So that's what I did. He knew that the stretches wasn't helping, and so he casted it. So I was just in a normal cast like this. I had a shoe, that ugly black shoe that I don't know where it's at right now. And I could walk on it, so I could put weight on it. I just walked on it, but basically what I was doing was just taking some pressure off of it. So I'm not able to move it or anything like that, so it can just truly heal. So like, hey, it's great. 3 weeks in a cast, fine. So 3 weeks, I'm still laying in bed at night. I can feel the pain through the cast, and I'm like, so then I go back to my doctor once my 3 weeks is up and tell him I'm still in pain. He's like, huh. He's like, well, sometimes it takes another 3 weeks, like, to truly, like, let it set in and heal. And so I was like, okay. So he was like, let's do 3 more weeks in a cast, but non-weight bearing. So that means I can't put any weight on it. So that means crutches. And crutches, if you've ever been on them, you know that that is the death of you. It's terrible. Crutches, like, getting him out of the car, getting him in the car, and if you have stairs, y'all. Oh, anyway, so I was 3 weeks on crutches, not able to put any weight on my foot, and that was just terrible. So I go back, y'all. I am still having pain. Oh, I forgot to mention, the previous time that I went back, whenever I got my second cast on, I also got an injection. So I got a cortisone shot injection in my foot, about right here where mostly plantar fasciitis, like for most patients, is. And I got an injection there, so we were like double teaming it. We were giving it some medicine down there, and then we were casting it again, not putting weight on it. So we're like, okay, this has got to work. This has got to be the end. So I go back, and I'm still having pain. Now, the one spot where he put the shot up here was feeling a little bit better. Like, I really did feel some relief up there. But like I've been told from people, those cortisone shots are just like Band-Aids. Like, they help you feel good for a few weeks, and then a few weeks after that, your pain will come back. It's kind of just like a Band-Aid. And so I was still having pain, but my pain majority was just up in my heel. So you have a heel bone down here, and my pain was just surrounded in my heel. And so I was like, you know, this is not working. And so I'm still having so much pain. So he gave me another shot, but this time he gave it to me down in my heel bone. Y'all, that was one of the most painful things I have ever felt in my life. I could feel the needle hit my heel bone. It was so painful. So he gives me another shot, and then he's like, okay, we've tried casting, that didn't work. You said the shot helped you a little bit, so we gave you another one. Now let's go back to the foundation of what treats plantar fasciitis, and that's stretching, taking that tendon and just stretching it, relieving all that inflammation. But since it wasn't working with you, let's get you someone with a specialist. So he sent me to a physical therapist who, he actually goes to my church. He's phenomenal. He did my hamstring or whatever. And so I started physical therapy, and I wasn't noticing any difference. It was everything I had really been doing at home, but just with somebody helping me, teaching me, showing me, but it was doing the same thing I was doing, and it still wasn't working. We even did this thing, y'all, called dry needling. That shot was bad that my doctor gave me. Dry needling, where they take these tiny little needles like this big, and they put it here and they stick it, and it's just like hanging out of your skin like this, and they just leave it there. Then he takes it, and this is in the tendon in my foot, mind you, and he takes it and he just moves it up and down, twirls it. Y'all, this is in the belly of my muscle in my foot, and he's just moving it up and down, twirling it, twisting it. And what he's doing is, what that was doing was telling my body, listen, she's having pain down there, you need to react to it and send help to it. So he was aggravating it to show my body that it needs help down there. So he did it in different places. He did it some up in my calf, because you have nerves that run up here that connect to your foot. So I had some done in my calf, all over my foot, up in here. I mean, everywhere, y'all. I had needles sticking me everywhere, and that didn't help. And it was just painful. Like, I was left with bruises all over me from where he was doing it. It was crazy. So physical therapy didn't help me with that, but I know it does help some other people, and I'm not saying physical therapy is not bad, because physical therapy is great. Physical therapy has helped so many people, but it just didn't help me with this. Like, that's how chronic it was. So I go back to my doctor, and he's like, listen, I'm not happy with your with your recovery. I'm not liking where this is going. It's getting worse, we can tell. And so he was like, he said the word. The word is surgery. And for a junior in high school who plays a year-round sport of cheerleading, competition basketball, football, a year-round sport, and someone who tumbles every single week and goes to tumbling and is a super active person, then you don't like to hear that word. But with the amount of pain I was in, I had no other option. So, but it was on the table. It was my decision. He was like, okay, you can stay in physical therapy for a whole nother month and see if it gets any better. And then if it doesn't, then you can do surgery after a month, but just try it for another month. Or it was do the surgery, but a 5-month recovery. And then, but your chances are you're gonna be better, and surgery helps. He's like, yes, my success with the surgery is great. You have the surgery, your foot's healed. But that's a 5-month recovery, y'all. And then if I stayed in physical therapy, then and if, let's say, physical therapy would have worked, then it worked. I wouldn't have to have the surgery in 5 months. But then what if physical therapy didn't work? I would have ended up having to have the surgery, and I would have wasted a whole month. So I went with the surgery, because in the long run, I didn't want to have to do this in the future. My senior year, I didn't want to have surgery my senior year and be out. So it's okay, let's just get it done, get it over with. So I had this surgery, and the surgery went great. My doctor was phenomenal. The surgery itself, he said, is not bad. So we were like, okay, let's do it. So the surgery was good. He said everything was great. I remember the whole day, going to sleep, waking up. It's a crazy day, y'all. And I have a funny story, but I'm not going to tell it on this vlog, because this vlog's already long. But anyways, I had the surgery. It was good. Surgery itself wasn't bad, but recovery is what absolutely stinks, because it is a 5-month recovery, y'all. And so yeah, it was just absolutely terrible. So I gotta make this quick, my mom's calling me. But so the surgery was good. I'm in a cast for a month, and I get it off tomorrow, y'all. I'm so excited. And then I'm in a normal boot for another month, and then after that I'm in normal shoes, but still not doing stuff. So yeah, I am just, even though so much of this has been crazy, not what I wanted, God has been so good and taught me so much through this. See, that's a little story of my foot. Hopefully I answer some of y'all's questions. Have a great day. Bye.